Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a fascinating case study in corporate governance, toxic office politics, and what actually happens when an ordinary promotion panel turns into an absolute battleground for the truth. If you've ever felt like your workplace relies way more on popularity than actual substance, well, you're definitely going to want to stick around for this one. Let's dive right in and look at how a seemingly routine administrative process was weaponized to block a rising star, and exactly how a brilliant audit team dismantled that trap.
Strategy lead Maya Carter noted something absolutely fascinating about this case. She said, "The dangerous documents never look dangerous first." The newest threat to the company here didn't arrive as some loud, obvious villain storming into a meeting. Instead, it arrived quietly. It was disguised as a boring administrative promotion panel rubric before anyone had even finished their first cup of coffee. It's just a perfect reminder that the most insidious corporate maneuvers are usually wrapped right up in everyday paperwork. Section 1. A quiet corporate threat. The danger of administrative processes. So, we're going to look at how an old, toxic corporate culture managed to hide itself inside seemingly neutral, standard operating procedures. When a company promises public reform, the backlash rarely comes as a direct attack, right? It comes as a subtle tweak to the rules. To really get this, we need to understand a tactic called ghost review language. Basically, this is subjective, polished, and soft-worded terminology that management weaponizes to quietly block an employee's advancement, all without leaving a definitive trail of bias. Think about your own workplace for a second here. Have you ever seen a coworker held back by incredibly vague feedback? Well, the executives challenging the promotion of an analyst named Aisha used exactly this kind of language. They framed their opposition as concern and a desire for team protection, which obviously makes it incredibly difficult to fight against using traditional HR complaints. The exact phrase they used against Aisha was too disruptive for leadership. Just think about that phrasing for a second. On the surface, it sounds completely reasonable. It sounds like prudent legal caution or responsible business continuity. But that is exactly what makes it such a perfectly polished trap. It's an opinion masquerading as an objective performance metric. And this brings us to the core conflict. The official story executives were pushing was that Aisha was a disruptive presence, negatively impacting team cohesion. But the hidden reality? The old company culture was literally weaponizing this new rubric to maintain control and push out someone who just asks too many questions. Maya Carter recognized instantly that they weren't just fighting one person's opinion. They were fighting the ghosts of the old culture. Section 2, mapping the proof. Bypassing loud opinions for hard data. So how exactly do you defeat ghost review language? Well, Maya and her audit team realized that arguing about personalities was going to get them absolutely nowhere. They had to meticulously track the digital footprint. Walk with me through this chronological timeline of their investigation, because it's entirely mechanical. At 8 a.m., Aisha does what experienced people usually skip. She checks the small print and the file metadata. By 10 a.m., Maya isn't chasing people, she's following systems to build a chain of custody proof map. At 1 p.m., executive assistant Nina pulls background calendar records. And finally, by 3 p.m., IT specialist Jordan translates the raw system logs into a clear chronological sequence. Every single team member played a crucial mechanical role in dismantling the executive's subjective narrative. The audit team zeroed in on what we call foreground records, exported calendar invites, routine task notes, security badge logs, saved system drafts, and access timestamp records. What's absolutely vital to take away from this is how seemingly mundane, everyday items became undeniable, repeatable proof. These simple, boring digital artifacts completely outmaneuvered the polished excuses of the executive board. Executive assistant Nina Ross actually sums this up perfectly. She said, "People forget that background work still has foreground records. It's such a crucial lesson for anyone navigating a complex organization. No matter how quietly someone tries to change a document in the shadows or hide their intent in a private chat, the digital system always leaves a structural trace. Have you ever noticed how the most vital evidence in your own office is often sitting right there in the outbox?" Section 3. The meeting becomes theater. The boardroom confrontation. All right, now we reach the climax of our explainer. This is where that quiet, behind-the-scenes investigation transforms into high-stakes drama. The hard data the team collected is finally brought before the executives in the boardroom. Let's break down the dynamics in the room. On one side, we've got the audit team relying exclusively on objective system logs, hard data, and timestamps. On the other side, we have executives like Victor and Clara. Notice their tactics here. They try to rename intent, they soften verbs, they ask everyone to consider optics, and they frame their opposition as
as just polite career advice to delay accountability. It's a classic battle of objective reality versus soft language. During this confrontation, the executives try to push for what they call a healing period and a fresh start. But board member Elise hit the nail on the head when she said, "Closure without memory is just a new cover page." You see, moving on without addressing the actual record isn't healing at all. It's simply another cover-up, wrapped up in a nice corporate bow. Then, the audit team reveals the hard truth. Through Jordan's translation of the system logs, Maya proves exactly how many corporate governance failures Aisha had actually prevented. The number? 3. Yep, the objective data proved that Aisha's so-called disruption wasn't a negative personality trait at all. It was a vital, measurable protection for the company. And then Maya drops an absolute mic drop of a demand to the panel. She tells them, "I am not asking you to trust me, I am asking you to trust the record you created." Boom. This masterfully corners the executives. She forces them to confront their own unalterable system logs rather than allowing them to drag the conversation back into a debate over opinions and feelings. The whole room freezes because, well, you cannot argue with a timestamp. Section 4, Evidence Louder Than Labels. Implementing structural repair. Now, Maya's victory here wasn't about seeking personal revenge or getting a quick win. It was about fundamentally changing the company's infrastructure so this trap could never be sprung again. The executives, well, they desperately wanted a private fix, handling the issue quietly behind closed doors to save face and keep the status quo intact. But Maya demanded a public fix. She wanted to ensure permanent structural repair by creating a transparent system that protects future employees, people who might not even know this board meeting took place. Let's actually look at the structural repair they put in place. It's beautifully simple. Step 1. The promotion panel must read all objective work evidence aloud. Step 2. Only after the evidence is read can personality labels be discussed. This elegant two-step design literally prevents subjective labels, like disruptive, from outweighing a person's objective contributions to the company. So, the ultimate result? Aisha is officially promoted to Audit Strategy Analyst. And even better, the promotion panel is now required to publish an anonymized rationale for all of its decisions. This new system makes the next SLI exponentially harder to pull off, proving that true reform isn't just about winning an argument. It's about fundamentally changing the rules of the game. Maya leaves us with this incredible philosophical point. Do not quietly fix what can publicly teach. True leadership requires turning a closed-door scandal into a public teaching moment. I mean, if you sweep it under the rug, the culture never changes. But if you build a new system out in the open, everybody learns. So as we wrap up this explainer, I've got a provocative question for you to chew on. In your workplace, which is louder, the hard evidence or the subjective labels? Take a look around your own office politics and ask yourself if your promotion rubrics are truly objective or just ghost reviews waiting to be challenged. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, keep asking the right questions.